Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Sports Fellas.
All right. All right, this is Eric, your four-time mano-a-mano champion, back in the booth.
This is Chuck. Happy to be back. It's been a little break, but excited to be here.
This is Ryan, first timer. Excited to get it going.
It's your boy, Tristan.
And it's your guy, Edward.
And it's your host, Carlos, in the house. We're going to discuss about the NBA Finals. Also, we're going to talk about the NFL, AFC, and NFC East. Also, the Stanley Cup Finals, Chuck's Dugout, and then one of the favorite shows, Eddie Money Sports Thoughts, and Mano a Mano. So let's go ahead and give a quick pause and thank our following sponsors.
What's up, folks? It's your pal, Chris with a K. Let me introduce you to a new friend of mine, Ryan Wagner at Wags Sports Memorabilia in Des Moines, Iowa. Your number one source for sports memorabilia. We're talking hats, t-shirts, jackets, and all sorts of other items. And not only that, Ryan can get you any of these items for any team, NCAA, NFL, NBA, and the Major League Baseball guys. So make sure if you're in Iowa, and especially Des Moines, stop in at Wags Sports Memorabilia. Also find them on the web at www.wagsports.com. Thanks, Ryan. You guys have a great day.
All right, everyone. So we are now in the NBA Finals. We have the Golden State Warriors taking on the Boston Celtics. So let's discuss a little bit how these two have came to be and to meet in the finals. So first we have the Warriors. They represent the Western Conference. They defeated the Nuggets, the Grizzlies, and my team, the Mavericks, unfortunately. And going against the Boston Celtics, who defeated the Nets, the Bucks, and the Heat. So I'm going to start this off with you, Eric. What are the chances of the Celtics winning this and winning their 18th championship, if that's possible?
Well, after game one, it seems pretty good right now because they beat the Warriors in the hardest place to beat the Warriors at home. You know, and Boston, it's weird this season. I don't know if you guys have been watching, but they play better on the road than they do at home. I think they're the only team possibly ever to make the finals without winning one home game, or they only won one home game in all the playoff runs. So shout out to Jason Tatum from St. Louis, Chaminade High School. But I'm a Warriors fan. I think the Warriors came out and played for three quarters, and it showed in the fourth quarter when the Celtics put up 40 points and the Warriors put up 16. So you have to play a complete game. Clearly, the Celtics are a young team, but when the Warriors have the experience and they're healthy, which they should take this easily, but when you give a young team a chance and you let them know, hey, I can play with these guys, now it's anybody's series.
How about you, Chuck?
I would definitely say that having that first game is just a huge factor. I know going into it, they had one of the tougher runs in the playoffs, playing the teams that they did. I mean, granted, they smacked Brooklyn like that wasn't even a contest, but it should have been with that roster, and apparently it wasn't. So, but leading up to that, their finals appearance, I mean, they played some pretty tough teams. So to get through that and stay as healthy as they are, I think goes a long way. I think the Warriors probably suffer an injury in the next two games that will decide their fate. That's my only prediction with that. But if they don't, I do think Golden State takes it to 7 games. And if you give them a 5 to 6 point window, they're probably going to win that game. Like, that's their run at that championship is what I think is going to happen. But I think this year what I'd like to throw a little tidbit at was the Lakers didn't make it with their roster. They're tied with Boston for 17 championships, if I'm not mistaken. Celtics take it. They're going to take the lead on that championship run, and hopefully the Lakers never win one again. So.
I think with the Warriors losing their first home playoff game kind of shows how the Celtics aren't really scared, even though they're young and experienced. Not a single player on that team has any finals experience yet. But I think it shows that they're ready to play hard. The Warriors playing the Nuggets first round, a good team, but they still didn't have Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. Next round against the Grizzlies without John Morant, and then the Mavericks, Luka can't carry that team. So I was curious to see how they would come out and perform. I don't know if they would be ready or not, but I think it'll be a good till game 2 if they can get back on the right track.
So, Celtics, it just seems like regardless of if Tatum does or doesn't show up, it just seems like, they just have too many pieces to work with. I'm rooting for the Warriors, but it just seems that the Celtics, they want it a little more. much younger squad, and for Jason Tatum to have another bad game like he did in Game 1, I highly doubt it. However, I mean, the Warriors, they do have Clay and Steph at the same time.
Jordan Poole.
But
I like him.
yeah, Jordan Poole as well. So, I mean, for me, it's a 50-50, and I feel like it's going to decide in 7 games, and the Celtics may come out on top.
According to Stephen A. Smith, he did say in his show, and I quote, "If the Celtics takes Game 2, it's over for the Warriors."
No,
it's
you can't
over.
say that.
I didn't say it.
I know.
I'm Stephen A.
I'm just telling you how I
that's-
feel about it.
I didn't say it.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. The way I see it is that Boston went in. They went in to Golden State, and they didn't play afraid. They at first they struggled between the first and the third quarter, but the fourth, I don't know what happened. They just found their burst, their niche, and they said, "Hey, you know what? You guys want to live by the 3? Okay, no problem." Man, who was the one that was shooting most of the? Was it Marcus Smart? Who was it?
Al Horford.
No,
Horford.
Horford.
His first finals.
Yeah,
Give the man credit.
His first finals in 140.
2 starts, I
Yeah.
think. 141.
And then they just dominate. No, I'm more confused because he dyed his hair green. You see, I was more concerned about his hair than his performance. But here's the thing: for all the Lakers, shout out to Loon, a huge Lakers fan. I know you guys are nervous because if they get it, the 18, do they tie or they'll be one up on the Lakers?
They're one up. They're tied right now.
They're tied.
Yep.
Oh boy, can you imagine all the legends? We're talking about Jerry West,
Yep.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all those guys out there like Boston. No. But we so far it's too early to tell. But Boston has already put their note in there that they're not going anywhere.
Tristan, what do you got?
I'm gonna pick back off all you guys. I got Celtics. I don't watch basketball, man, so I don't know much.
That's why we
about it.
ignored them.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay.
Ignored them.
I got a Celtics.
Okay, so who are you taking, Ed?
Celtics.
I'm taking the Celtics. Ryan?
I got Celtics in 6.
Celtics in 7.
I'm going to be the outlier. I got the Warriors in 6.
I'll take Celtics in 6.
Yeah, because, I mean, it just seems I went against the Celtics, the Bucks series, the Nets series, and the Heat series, and it just seems like they just keep proving me wrong. So
Right.
they may come out on.
It's kind of like a relationship. No means no, right? Don't. No.
Yeah,
It's okay, Ed. It's all right. I don't blame you. It's all right. It's all right. All right, so let's go ahead and move on real quick into the NFL. Let's give a quick pause and thank our following sponsors.
1990, Wichita's own Superstar Sports has everything for the fans' needs, whereas for NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, or either college. So please check them out at either the Town West Mall in Wichita, Kansas, or the Town East Mall, Wichita, Kansas, whereas Superstar Sports, where every fan is welcome.
All right, so the last episode we talked about the AFC NFC West. Today, we are going to talk about the AFC East and the NFC East. So let's start off with the AFC. Let's talk about the Jets, Jets. Let's start this off with you, Eric. What do you see the Jets doing this year?
Praying that Zach Wilson is not a bust. Literally, that's what they have. I think they have a new coach. They still have him. Hopefully his second year is better than his first year, and they can win more games than they did last year. Good luck.
Can someone tell me what's the coach's name of the Jets?
Irrelevant. No, sorry.
Oh, wow. Not when he was the offensive coordinator for no, was he offensive or defense for the 49ers?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know your name, guy. If you want to go ahead and tune into the show, just let us know, and we'll put it out there. Chuck, what do you got for the Jets?
Yeah, I think regardless of what their program is doing and the team or the players that they got in the draft and this and that, it's really a division owned by the Bills. And the Patriots, they're going to make a headway because Mac Jones is obviously a pretty legit quarterback.
Roll Tide.
So, they're going to put up a contention for the division. And then with what Miami did in the offseason, they are now a solid number 2, maybe dark horse to take the division for some odd reason. But, they're probably going to get in there for a good wild card race. So, not to discredit the Jets in any way, but they're just irrelevant in that division, I think.
Ryan?
I don't think the Jets will be successful until they surround quarterback with weapons he could use on the offense. I know they got that running back from Iowa State in the draft, but other than that, like you said, with the Bills being there, I don't see them being successful in the next couple of years.
Yeah, basically, I agree with everything Chuck said. Jets got fourth in the division, bro. They're in too tough a division to make an impact, especially, they got a bunch of young players. They're relying on their rookies this year to see if they can win more games than last year. So I got Bills taking first. I got the Dolphins taking second in that division. I think if Tua can show out, he's got the weapons. He's got the defense. It all relies on Tua, man. And I'm excited to see the Dolphins this season.
Okay, we'll talk about them here shortly. How about you, Ed?
Well, I mean, the Jets, it's really more of a, rookie, up-and-comers. But I feel that when you have, Jalen Allen and Mac Jones and Tua in that division, it just seems that, I feel like the Bills will take first. Patriots will possibly take second. Just, knowing Bill Belichick's, coaching compared to, Miami's. It just seems, it's from top to bottom. It just makes more sense. And with the Dolphins, I mean, it's a hit or miss. It's either how can I say it? So, if Tua can't, manage to make a team, make the team successful, having Tyreek and Waddle, I think it's time for a new QB change in that room. So,
besides their color scheme on their jerseys, it's just going to get better. I didn't say the players. I said their jersey. I like the solid black. I'm going to give. You know what? I've always liked the JETS logo instead of their throwback. Mm-hmm. You're probably the crowd, and you guys are asking me, why is he talking about their jersey color and not the team? Because that's what they got going for themselves. Yeah. Is that. And if I keep seeing that fire marshal guy, that fan, that JTS, if I see him, I'm telling you, there's going to be a curse against the Jets. Here's the deal. Who remembers when they had Mark Sanchez and they went back-to-back AFC championships? Who remembers that?
I remember that.
Okay. They need to bring back – this coach is a good coach. What was Coach Sala?
Yeah, Robert Sala.
Yeah, Robert
Look what he did for the 49ers. That defense was great, even though they lost to the Chiefs. But that's on them. Mm-hmm. That's on them. And I give that to Kyle Shanahan, Coach Shanahan, for trusting the ball in Garoppolo. But that's a story for another day. But here's the deal. It's a project. They need to work on it. So, no, they're not going to make no impact anytime, but they need to do is capitalize on the wins. And I'm going to agree a little bit with Ryan's saying. They don't got nothing much really going for themselves, but they're young. If they can gel together, anything can happen. So we'll look forward to their season. We'll see what they do. Moving on to the New England Patriots. I'm going to start this off with Chuck. Where do you see the Patriots doing this year?
Yeah, they're a solid bet at second. Maybe challenging the Bills a game out of their division series. I mean, Mac Jones, he seems to be the truth for them. And then probably bigger than anything is Bill Belichick. But they don't have Josh McDaniels anymore. So I think that's going to be what comes noticeable out of this, because how he does in Las Vegas is a big factor, to see if we can actually get a product of Bill Belichick's coaching staff, the newer generation. Can they be successful? Because so far they're all busts.
Yeah, they're all busts. It's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. So how that affects the offense for New England, I think, is a big factor as far as a question mark for them going into the season. But it's Bill Belichick. I mean, he's either on his way out, and you're seeing the last of maybe a 4 or 5 year tenure of a subpar team. Let's go retirement, or he's going to continue to contend, keep the program relevant. I mean, a second-place team in a division in the NFL. I mean, these are multi-billion-dollar companies. This is how they run as a business. So, you're putting fans in the stands. You're doing your job. And the Patriots are obviously one of the biggest fan bases, in the NFL, outside of Dallas. But
and the Steelers.
And the Steelers are up there.
Don't forget the Steelers.
Right. But I just think that again, it's not to take anything away from the other three teams, but it's just the Bills' division to win, to have. But, you stay up there, you pull a wild card, and anything can happen in the playoffs. So,
I think I'm looking to see Mac Jones make another leap in year 2. I feel like Bill thinks that he found his new Tom Brady. So, I think as long as he progresses over the next couple of years, I think it'll be a very valuable piece to their offense.
And it pays. It goes to show it pays off when you're good friends. When Bill Belichick and Nick Saban are real good friends, they talk, say, hey, you should get my guy, and this is why. I mean, that game against Tom Brady, that Sunday night game, Mac Jones was doing great those first 3 quarters. And just the fourth quarter, I don't know what happened, but still, they're a young, upcoming team. And then Bill Belichick, he's the mastermind. He's the mastermind. Who you got, Eric?
Get Bill Belichick's name right. He's the chess master. So I think Mac Jones is his guy. I think he found his.
He's a Freemason. I'm just throwing it out there.
I think Mac Jones is his next guy. I think it's the challenge for him now is to build a defense to support him, because he'll find he'll have 5 or 6 running backs that'll come in and catch screen passes and stuff like that. It's find him wide receivers. I think he learned from Tom. We need to actually get him some weapons. So let's see what they find in free agency, because they don't draft. Bill finds these guys off the couch, and then next thing you know, they're in the playoffs. So it's definitely, I think they're a strong number 2. They could challenge for number 1 if Josh Allen somehow gets hurt or drops the ball, or they just fall asleep. I don't know. But yeah, they're the number 2 in the division, and they'll make the playoffs if they do what they need to do.
Yeah, they're number 3 in the division. I do think they'll fight with number 2 with Miami, but like Chuck said, man, it's the Bills division. I don't see the Bills not winning that division. So it's the Bills division, and then I think they're going to have a hard time with the new Dolphins team, all the players they picked up. So
To all the Patriot fans out there, I'm trying to keep it Patriots, and this guy keeps talking about the other teams. We can't stay focused. But here's the deal. This is how we're looking at it with New England. New England is going to have to learn with the up-and-coming Dolphins. The Buffalo Bills are the top tier, but I do believe this year they're going to break away a game. I agree with you, Eric. They're going to break away a game. I mean, we saw that first game. What was the first game of Buffalo? They lost to the Steelers. Mm-hmm. So anything's predictable. Anything can happen. And they have the Chiefs. What game? I think it's week 3. I think week 3 to 4. But the AFC East has to bring it this year. And right now, I mean, you got some relevant teams except the Jets. But right now with New England is just going to have to capitalize on those wins. So that's the only way how I see it. So let's go ahead and move on, Tristan, since you keep wanting to praise the Miami Dolphins. All right, so tell me about the Dolphins. Let's hear it.
Shout out to my cousin. He's a big Dolphins fan, so I mean, I get a lot of insight on him because he's hyped about this season. And I'm like, I think, there's good reason to be hyped. All the playmakers that y'all picked up in not only the draft but in free agency, especially Tyreek Hill. Everybody's getting on Tua that he can't throw a deep ball. They're not going to be able to utilize Hill, but I think they'll be fine. I think Tua's just going to have a nice year. He's going to get used to all his new players, and he's going to enjoy it because they're deep threats, and they'll be able to make great plays. And they still have one of the top defenses in the league, so that's why I'm so strongly about them being second in that division. They have a great defense, and now they've got a new great offense. That running back core, man, like all 3-4 players are all they could all be RB1s in my opinion. So I see the Dolphins pulling that number 2 spot.
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback on what Justin said, Dolphins, will have a chance to fight for the division if the QB and the wide receiver room, if they all connect, game in and game out, they can run the Bills for their money. But however, I also how Tristan and Ryan said, it is the Bills division. The Patriots will probably share a game, go 1-1. But just having the Bills, that just that whole team, especially their secondary, it's really great secondary. So, yep.
How about you, Chuck?
I'll be pretty honest. That the only
When are you never not honest?
well,
Just
when I
throwing it
talk
out
to my wife, I guess.
And we
I'm
do
just
not
kidding.
support that message. Just kidding. Sportsfellas does not support that message.
No, outside of Tyreek Hill, I don't see anything fancy about. I mean, the wide receiver core is, but well, you saw what the Browns did. with a amazing wide receiving core, and well, didn't go so well. You've seen it several times with other All-Star or Hall of Fame wide receivers going in. Antonio Brown, granted the Bucks were the Bucks, but it's just I just don't see anything as sustainably like, man, we're going to build around this and be successful. Because overall, when you do plug in players, but you don't have, the coaching staff to develop them, well, I mean, these are grown men. They're either going to be stars or they're not, unless you have certain coaches like Bill Belichick and that type of surrounding, mentors and stuff like that. Well, Tua doesn't have a quarterback to learn from. He doesn't have that mentor he grew up behind, and I don't think he's the Mac Jones-esque, I don't need somebody to teach me. I know how to play the game. I need a coach to teach me how to play the game type player. Wide receivers can only do so much because they can't throw and catch the ball. Their running back core, I'm not sure that they're actually that great. I mean, Ahmed and then
Sonny Michel,
Sonny
Raheem
Michel.
Mozart.
Yeah, I just don't think they're that great. I think having depth is important, but Texans had depth at running back last year. Let's be honest. It doesn't matter when you have certain guys that are too old to play or this and that. If your offensive line doesn't work well, your blindside, stuff like that is a bigger factor to certain players. And I think that outside of the receiving core, and Tyreek Hill like that, I just don't think as an overall team they're going to be. They didn't make a big jump in my book. Let me get to that point. They didn't make such a jump to say, hey, we're going to beat the Patriots this year. We're going to be a solid number 2. No, it's going to be a battle for them, I think. And then again, you're not taking down the Bills, but hey, let's make a splash. Win 10 wins. That's a solid season for the Miami Dolphins. Look at their last 5 years. Like, that's it. That's a win for them, I think. And again, weak conference. Take a wild card and make a splash in the pool of playoffs there, Dolphins.
I like what you did with that.
Yeah.
Flipper would be proud of you.
So for me, Chuck touched on it. There's 2 main areas that the Dolphins need to work on and make sure if they're going to make a run at anybody. It's the offensive line. And what was the other one? Offensive line. And if Tua can somehow utilize Tyreek Hill and the running backs, and also if injury prone, can Teddy Bridgewater carry the team to some wins? Because Tua hasn't played a whole season since he's been here. So Teddy B has to, also injury prone, has to carry him if he gets hurt. So can they pull something together with their coaching staff to try and be strong? I don't know. I think offensive line is the biggest question because the Bills have a good defense. The Patriots always have a good defense. The Jets always have a decent defense. They just don't have an offense that can score. So can you protect Tua to have him be successful? Because the last time he was successful, he had an all-star offensive line at Alabama.
This is a critical one here because I like what you said, Eric. The deal is Tua, we know already his throwing skills is not up that great. And picking up Tyreek Hill, it makes the game much smaller. So maybe some option plays, some short screens. And that's what you got to work with because, I mean, the guy, he's not a threat. He's not a deep threat. And so for them to get better, you got Josh Allen can launch the ball. Mac Jones can throw the ball. Zach Wilson can throw the thing is Tua cannot do that. So now it comes to, for us, if we were looking at it like, how can we make Don Shula and the 72-73 Dolphins proud? Like, what can we do? Or at least, or maybe, when's the last time they went to a Super Bowl with Dan Marino, 84,
his rookie
83?
year, second year?
Second year. So that's the last time. I mean, playoff appearances, of course, back when Chad Pennington was there. But still, if Miami's going to do anything, they have to have a quarterback that's going to be able to do a little bit more. And if Tua doesn't do it, I think we're going to see him pretty soon gone. That's the way. That's how I'm looking at it.
Okay.
So, all right. So, last but not least, the Buffalo Bills. So, Ryan, tell me how you think the Bills are going to do this year.
Well, of course, I think they're going to come out of the division on top. I know a player like Josh Allen isn't going to let his fate be decided on a coin toss again. He's going to come out this year, play harder than ever. I just see them dominating top to finish.
If I can real quick, because that was a big deal when last year's playoffs and all that. They said he lost by the coin flip. Well, defense wins championships.
Absolutely.
And you have one drive that you really matter and have to play in, and that's the first drive in the overtime for the NFL, right? Because once you get possession, I think the numbers change to like 60 to 70% of winning, because then it's the next field goal,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken.
And now they changed the rules.
Right. So they did change that. But so, yeah, you lost to the coin flip, but then, you know.
What about the other four
The
quarters?
Chiefs had it the
What
same
about the
way,
13
too, at some
seconds?
point. Right. But if I can make a quick point to when now Josh Allen has to play Tyreek Hill twice a year, and in that game against the Chiefs in the overtime, he notched him for big chunks of yards, not on deep passes because they didn't have time to wait for the routes to be ran. He caught it, and he used his speed. So take it back to the Dolphins for a second. If they can make him that effective and let that speed, not just to distance throws because he's not throwing long bombs, just give him the ball in just a slim margin of space, and he's going to make everyone break ankles. He's going to make them lose their speed, lose it in a race. That's how I see that factor for the Miami Dolphins. Now, to Josh Allen, it always seems like the storyline for Buffalo is offense against offense, and they always do this. Peyton Manning against Tom Brady, quarterback against quarterback. Well, Peyton Manning never rushed Tom Brady in a play. Like, yeah, you do end up against each other on the, in the games, the last. Who won the game-winning drive. So Josh Allen has that capability because he took the Chiefs down to 15 seconds with his game-winning ability. He did it a minute earlier when he took the lead then. So he's that great of a quarterback. But if these teams don't start focusing like the other championship caliber teams, the Rams, defense wins championships. So if you can't be the guy you got to be but have a defense to just win that last drive, win the one that matter, keep the ball possession in time of possession. So if Buffalo has a great offense, we know it. It's great. Everybody loves it. Buffalo is ecstatic about their team these days. But they were ecstatic about them in the 90s when they went to 4 straight. So if you can't get your defense on board, then I think it's, yes, you win the division every year. Well, so did the Patriots, but only because of Tom Brady did they make it matter deep runs in the playoffs. So if you can't be the team to take it all the way and win the AFC title game, if your defense can't pick it up, that's going to kill you every year. And that's what I see happening this year to them again, is the defense is going to hurt them in the AFC title game. Because I think either the Chiefs or I'll just leave it at the Chiefs. That's who's going to take it.
I thought you were going to say Denver. I was like, oh.
Okay, no,
Denver's not even.
I want to speak on that division day. Let me get on that too,
Okay.
if we haven't
All
already
right.
done
That's
it.
no. Hey,
'Cause I got a lot of faith in them, but
I'm just a dreamer. I just want to dream a little.
hey,
you know,
baby,
just kind of.
your dreams are happening right now.
I like that.
So for me, obviously, Josh Allen is the guy there. They should take the division, but Chuck nailed it on the head. Can the defense bend and not break when it counts? Obviously, they're happy. They have Josh Allen on a long-term deal. Stephon Diggs wants to retire there. They locked him in with big money, maybe a little bit too much. We'll see. They let go of Star Lutele, or however you say his name, and picked up somebody else.
They got Von Miller. Some leadership.
They overpaid
They did.
Von Miller big time.
Well,
He can't bring his chickens over there. It's too cold. I don't know how he's gonna.
how cold was it in Denver?
Right.
He didn't bring him there either.
Yeah.
He had him back in Texas,
Yeah,
back
I
in
mean-
College Station.
Yeah, I think they overpaid on Von Miller. Hopefully he brings that veteran experience at linebacker to help their middle linebacker was already good. So, I mean, it always helps when you have another guy, and that might free up some of the defensive ends. But I think the Buffalo Bills, I don't know if they play a 3-4 or 4-3. I should know, but I don't.
3-4.
And so
It's looking like a 4-3.
right, I think they
Is it
switched
3-4?
because
thought it was 3-4.
LA was a 4-3 with Von Miller, I think.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Nobody cares about how much you spend if you win. So hopefully it works out.
Hey, ain't that the truth?
I just
Get an
think,
amen.
I just think it's going to be them and the Chiefs to fight out for home field. If hopefully the Bills can get home field, I think that would help them a lot. I think that would help Josh Allen instead of being on the road in the playoffs. It's always easier to win at home. So I think that's what they're going to push for this year because they've made it there, but they haven't had home field.
Yes, indeed. We want to see the Bills keep progressing. Maybe for once, win one in.
So take a look at their schedule.
All right.
Starts off probably 3 losses. So they may look bad going into the season, and that is going to tell you how Josh Allen handles that type of mentality, getting beat up on.
What are the first 3 games?
Yeah, Rams, Tennessee, Miami. But then you got Baltimore, away at Baltimore, at home against Pittsburgh, at Kansas City, versus Green Bay. And then it starts declining down. You got Jets, Minnesota,
That is a
Cleveland,
tough
Detroit.
first couple of
It
games.
ends well for them, right? They're going to be like, oh, thank God. Like, their bye week is like, well, here we go, 7 straight wins, you know. But starting off with that type of roster, you're getting beat up. You're getting injuries potentially that may – you want them to happen early because they come back later in the season. So yeah, that might be a storyline. You're going to hear Stephen A. Smith, man, are the Bills done this year because they lost 3 straight? But
Is he done this year?
He
Ah,
needs to be.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to that. Let's go ahead and switch over to the NFC side. We have the first up, the name, the Washington Commanders. Sounds like a group of G.I. Joes that got together. All right. So shout out to our friend Kyle Big, Commanders fan. I'm going to start this off with you, Ed. What do you think the Commanders are going to do this year?
Not much. They're an okay team. Nothing, too scary for let's say, for example, for my Dallas Cowboys or for the Eagles. So yeah, I'll leave it there.
Okay, that was short and sweet. Tristan.
I'll make it short and sweet too. Probably third in the division. I don't see him beating or taking over the Cowboys or Eagles in that division. There's not much to say, man.
Yeah, I don't really have high hopes for them. I just hope that their rebrand, brings about a new team culture. That's all that they can really hope for.
Well, the only way to do that is get rid of that. Now I'm not gonna say it out loud, but that owner, he's got to go.
Dan Snyder.
That's a big story. You're gonna take away from your program. Like just stop, just leave and let the taintness go away from you. You know what I'm saying? Take away that shadow. But to speak to the team, Carson Wentz, is he or isn't he? And this is about his last straw as an NFL starting quarterback. Like, you had an option or you had an opportunity in Indianapolis. Like, it was there. You had it, and yet you couldn't beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. So don't let that be the declining point in your career, or I guess I should say the nail in the coffin of your career, because if you don't end up anyway successful in arguably the second to third weakest division in the NFL, AFC South being the worst probably. So, but yeah, like, you've got good wide receivers. That team was semi-successful last year with Heineke. Like, it was exciting to watch them play football, for the first time in a long time, I think. But Chase Young, like, let that guy have a stellar career. Like, give that guy an option to make big plays and put you in a position to win football games. Like, I think that's just keep yourself in the running in these games. Keep it within 3, keep it within 6, those types of stretches to the game. And he's capable of playing. He's a veteran, experienced quarterback. He's not untalented by any means. He's had a great college career leading into his NFL, but unfortunately he didn't play for great teams. But it's all about what you make of your career, I think. And this is one of his staple years. It's going to be chapter 10 and an 11 chapter autobiography type deal.
I'm wondering who has more longevity, him or a Jason Voorhees movie. I'm going to take my chances on Jason.
I'd say
He just
Jason.
keeps coming back.
Oh, yeah.
This is Carson Wentz's last chance. Him and Riverboat Ron. Chase Young, he's probably the heartbeat of the defense. I don't think Ryan Kerrigan's there still. I'm not sure. He might still be. Good. Thanks, Chuck. Can Carson Wentz stay healthy, and can he take care of the ball and put them in a position to win games when it's close? I don't see the Commanders blowing anybody out. It's going to be those dirty games, in garbage time. Can I get this team in field goal range? Or can Chase Young get a fumble recovery and give me a chance to win this game for this team? Washington's been bad for a very long time. I think it does start at the top, just like Chuck said with Dan Snyder. I don't think it's going to be good.
I don't want to count out Coach Rivera. He's a successful coach.
I like him a lot.
And I like how what he did for the program in Carolina. Because Coach John Fox was a good coach there. He took Carolina to their first Super Bowl, and then Rivera was able to do it. But here he's into a culture where Dan Snyder, it's just that crappy politics that goes from the top. And him dealing with all that. Hopefully he's very old school, he knows about winning. I mean, he was part of the Bears team.
The greatest Bears team.
Of course. So here's the deal. Play with the cards you're dealt with. Get into the draft. Start picking up players. See who's available. Start working on that cash flow a little bit. If you want to hire me, call me. I'm here. If you need help, I'll give you some pointers there. But I'm just saying, for the Commanders, the culture has to change. That's a great point. That was the best point so far for them is, they're starting off with the name. I mean, their jerseys look kind of slick. You just see, I vouch for their product, their clothing line. You know what I'm saying? I vouch for them. Did you see their jerseys? It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
the white, maroon, and
I like
now
the
the
colors,
black.
but I think they had the big Commanders up front. I didn't really like that.
Yeah, I don't know. The W is just still. I'm still working around the W.
It's gonna I spent a whole year calling them the Washington football team, and now I'm like the command. Like it's almost like the Indians. Then they changed to the Guardians. Like I caught that a few weeks ago. I said, "What?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember now."
It's how you think we got here from we're here from Wichita, Kansas. We had to keep changing our baseball teams,
Right.
From Wranglers, Wingnuts.
You know what solidifies a team name,
Winning a championship.
or at least a playoff berth? Let's get there first.
There you go. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the New York Giants. I'm gonna start this off with you, Driston. How do you think the Giants will do this year?
Fourth in the division. I
Fourth.
mean,
Woo! Way to go, Washington.
Yeah,
Or
right.
sorry, way to go, Commanders.
I mean, yeah. I'm not much to say there. I'm keeping it short and sweet. I don't think they're gonna do much.
First of all, is Saquon supposed to return by the beginning of the season? I think it really comes down to if he can stay
Yes.
healthy. It
Yeah,
seems
he's not questionable.
okay. Yeah, it seems like every year it's the same thing with him. Can he stay healthy, or once he goes down, season's over. So
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback on what Ryan said, it really just comes down to what Saquon can do and can he stay healthy. And at this point, I don't even know who they have in their QB room.
Tyrod Taylor.
And Danny Dimes, right?
Yeah, he's still there, right?
Mm-mm.
Is he?
He's not.
Not on the roster, no. Not on the depth chart.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh no, Daniel Jones. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
he's a starter. He
Yeah.
said in the line. I thought you were talking about backups. So
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, as long as they have Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, and AKA Eli version 2,
Yeah.
it comes down to the running backs and the defense. Again, that's another one. It starts at the top. They just need to start over, in my opinion. They probably have a couple of defensive players that I can't name that are decent, but it's just they've been so bad for so long, and they went through a couple of coaches, and
Yep.
it's just bad there. Like, I felt bad when Saquon got drafted there
Yeah.
because I knew it wasn't going to be great.
Yeah.
So, that fourth in the division, I'm with Driston.
Yeah.
Just on coaching
I'm
alone.
lost,
Just on coaching.
I'm lost for words. I think it's going to be the battle of who's going to win between the Commanders and Giants. I don't know. That's going to be a tough one. The thing is with the Giants, Saquon needs, he's coming back from that injury, and poor guy don't even got a line. I mean, when you watch him in his prime, when he was at Penn State, he was a monster.
His rookie year, he was a monster.
He was a monster, but now it's kind of like he's not doing anything. So we need to keep an eye on the Giants. Let's go ahead and move on because there's not much to say there.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and fly, Eagles, fly. Here we go. Shout out to my friend Harvey. He's from Philly. This is his team, the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to start this off with you, Ryan. How do you think the Eagles will do this year?
I expect them to do a little bit better than they did last year. Devontae Smith battled some injuries last year. I think he's a vital weapon for their offense with him and Jalen Hurts. I think when things are clicking for them, they have a very exciting offense, not only to watch, but can win them some ball games. So
I'll go. I think, there's no longer a QB controversy there. Jalen Hurts is the number one there. He's got his guy from Alabama, a second season, more continuity there. They have a decent tight end. They still have a Pro Bowl center with Jason Kelce, Travis Kelce's brother.
I think he retired.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
did
Well,
If I'm not mistaken, because I know they drafted a center.
he's on the depth chart right now.
Oh,
from what
never
I've
mind.
seen.
Then I lied.
But that's
Liar.
okay. Miles Sanders, he can do some damage a little bit, but it's just can they run with the Cowboys? Can they steal a game or two from the Cowboys? And can that line keep Jalen Hurts from running around and having to be the leading rusher and the leading passer and touchdown scorer?
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback on your point. The Eagles, they do have a really solid team, great coach. So I mean, it just comes down to can they win games? And with the Cowboys, them going up against the Cowboys, they'll probably go 1-1, knowing my Cowboys, especially towards the end of the season. And especially with Jalen Hurts, having that one playoff to his back last year against Brady, he might, they could possibly make a short run in the playoffs this year, possibly maybe win one wild card game. But I feel like how the team's going, they're going up, instead of down, compared to the Commanders, the Giants. So, yeah.
It's pretty simple here. I feel that the Eagles will give the Cowboys a hard time. The Eagles, their diversity in players can take the Cowboys. They could probably even sweep the Cowboys, maybe. But I will agree with you. It'll be a 1-1. I'll do 1-1. It's gonna be an exciting year for Philly this year. We're gonna see where they can go, learn from last year.
And I feel like picking up AJ Brown, that just opens the
Oh,
door
yeah,
to
another
that
weapon.
passing games. Just because now if Devontae Smith can stay healthy, they got two great receivers. They got a good tight end.
Good point.
They got a good O line and a good run game. Like I feel like, their offense is going to be what carries them this
They
season.
just can't turn the ball over.
Yeah,
Right.
and
It's a big problem.
yeah, it is a big problem. So, but I kind of have the Eagles favored to win that division just a little bit over the Cowboys, and not because looking at it, I think it looks kind of good, but I also want them to beat the Cowboys. I want them to take that
Wow.
division.
Most
Sorry,
You're gonna let him say
Most
that?
people do.
Yeah, just because, man, I like Jalen Hurts. Boomer sooner.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. But where did he win his title at? I'm just trying to.
Hey, bro, it doesn't.
No,
matter.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking. Where
We're talking about the Eagles, we're not talking about college right now.
Oh, you're the one that brought it up. This guy.
If I can, before we get to the Cowboys, what have the Eagles done that would make them any different than last year?
AJ Brown. Literally, that's it.
Right.
Yeah, pretty
so
much.
you had the Titans with on the book, 2 Hall of Fame wide receivers, a really good, talented quarterback. Couldn't get it done. So you've got a young quarterback who's probably got the talent, but does he have the veteran mentality to get him in the big games and on the game-winning drives? Dallas swept the division. Washington didn't get much better outside of if, let's say, Carson Wentz makes a factor. The Giants did do nothing except maybe Saquon stays healthy. So I don't think that you take a 6-0 in the division record Cowboys. Let's say they lose one, so they end up 5-1 in the division. What'd they do? They won the weakest division in the conference. So yes, I do think Philly's a great up-and-coming team. I think right now you've got key players. Now, so just get the defense on board. Same thing with a lot of other teams. Storyline: get the defense on board. Who's their coach?
That is a good question.
Yeah, perfect. So I had to look it up, and I still don't know his name because I looked it up.
Why did I want to say
forgot.
Coach Peter?
No. So that's just what I mean by what have they done to get him over the Cowboys hump in the division? Because if you don't win the division, you're not that division is not likely going to take a wild card. So keep that in mind going forward. I do think they've got hope in the next 2 to 3 years because the Cowboys, if they don't do it, well, guess what happens when you pay too much money? You lost one. You lost Amari Cooper, right? Like you're going to start losing those star players, and Dak can't take a talentless roster. But that's for the next segment. So
Nice. Well, now that he's brought it up, Ed, let's talk about your Cowboys. What are they going to do this year? It's quiet.
At most, possibly just 10 wins, and barely possibly win their division. But anything after that, not much. They possibly may get a wild card win, if that. But that franchise, it's more of a show than anything, and it all starts with Jerry Jones. So until that changes, it doesn't seem like we'll go past the first round. So the wild card. So and especially with Amari leaving, Zeke, it just seems like he's going downhill. His average yardage, each year just keeps going down. And Dak, I mean, how I mentioned, a couple weeks ago in the segment, it's just a hit or miss with him. It seems like, he starts the season well, then, he goes down, he goes back up, and then late in the season, it seems like, he just, forgets, how to play quarterback. Big turnover machine when it matters. So, I mean, the expectations, probably they're not very high, and yeah, I mean that's sadly pretty much it.
You sounded sad. I'm depressed over here. I'm like, oh my gosh.
So for me, I think the expectations are high because the pressure is there. They might have their best defense they've had in 10 years.
I mean, the expectations are always high.
Right.
Before the season.
That's just Dallas Cowboys.
That's not what you said earlier.
Right. But you have the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year in Micah Parsons.
Oh, yeah.
Vander Esch has a guy that can help him out now. Dak is as healthy as he's been in 2 seasons. I'm not going to talk about Zeke because I think he's on his way out, but Tony Pollard is a monster. He's a burner. They have CeeDee Lamb, who's, I don't know, the reincarnation of Michael Irvin. Michael Gallup is still very good. He's a silent killer. Nobody really talks about Michael Gallup, but he's a burner too.
Because he was behind Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Like, what do you get out of that?
Right. I mean, he still scored touchdowns.
100%.
So
You see, he sounded more optimistic than you, Ed.
But didn't
that's
CD
sad.
lead drops last year?
Ed's a realist.
but I'm getting the point is though, if not now, then when?
Right.
Because this is Dak's best team on paper that he's had since he's been there with a defense.
So
We've been saying that since 1995, right?
Right.
I think last year's team was more of a
defensively
Super Bowl or bust.
defensively?
Year. Just in general.
Well, you are a Cowboys fan.
I think
So I'll give you that.
I think to the Super Bowl or bust, it's equally both years. You just get a second run at it because last year it was Micah Parsons.
Right.
Like we just now know who he is, but he was the guy last year. So you already had him. You just didn't know it. But that team's roster is still there. But to this point, last year I made the point was, will Dak stay healthy? And he did, and they won 12 games. It's just that playoff run, right? It's anyone's game in the playoffs.
Right.
But what their run is this year is the AFC South, their division. So there's potentially 9 to 10 wins automatically with just your 2 divisional games. And you play the AFC North.
They're going to struggle against the North.
With 2 teams at least, not Detroit and probably not the Bears. So there's, let's say, 2 losses there. Okay, well then you've got Tampa Bay, you've got Cincinnati, you've got LA. So okay, but you're still winning 10 games, almost not guaranteed because nothing is.
Should.
But let's say 8 to 10 without even trying. So if the Cowboys, with that into their season's storyline, if you don't with that type of regular season, you can almost sit starters because their last 7 games are against the AFC South and the NFC East.
So they just have to climb the hill early.
You just got to maintain and stay healthy, and then let's start making fun. Let's have fun with our team. Like let's be ballers. Let Micah Parsons be the guy again. Let Zeke run the hill. Like let these guys get that confidence with the wins and let them have fun. And that's what produces a very successful team.
And a good playoff run.
Tampa Bay had fun when Tom Brady took over with them because they were winning football games and that's a good team and their personalities jive and this and that. And Mike McCarthy's not a bad coach. I mean the guy's got a Super Bowl, right? So he's got the elements. Jerry Jones has it. I do think Jerry Jones needs to go. But
he won't go until he's in the ground. Let's just start there.
Well, that's for dang sure.
Right.
But, I just think that their record alone is their schedule alone is gonna carry them into the playoffs and above the division. So just have fun and play some football, man. Let Dak have that career year like he should have last year and the year before that. Because had he not got injured, this would be his 3rd or 4th straight number 1 QB in the league type stats, right?
Absolutely.
Now if it was me and I was Jerry Jones, I'd go throw the money and I'd get Saquon Barkley right now.
Wow.
Because if you had that three-headed backfield with their offensive line and their defense and the wide receiving core, then again, if you don't make it happen, well, you may just want to gut and start from something fresh. Because if you can't do it with that, I don't think anybody could.
I trade Zeke for Saquon.
I wouldn't trade him. I would just give Zeke a break. That guy's got more touches in like the last 5 years than almost anybody, I think. Like he's just.
Well, let's go
that guy
back to
gets
even
beat
farther.
up.
He had touches at Ohio State too.
Yeah, he did. That guy's had a very successful but a very hurting on the body career. Like these running backs have 3 to 5 years shelf life.
Yep.
And so if Saquon doesn't get himself a successful offensive line, he'll never go down in history as the successful running back he should have been.
Nope.
So there's other running backs in the game, but if I was Jerry Jones and that Saquon Barkley, to keep him happy and successful and to keep my other running back core healthy, make the move. You didn't want to do it for Amari? Well, guess what? The running game can set up your offensive game very successfully.
And that's important for Dak because that's what he had at Mississippi State, and he
100%.
made that run there.
Jerry Jones, you heard us here at Sports Fellas. You heard us. Talk to us, Jerry. Talk to us. We're here to talk to you, make you a better team.
That's
All right. So
Sounds like an infomercial.
he'll hear us out. Trust me.
Right.
All right. So that concludes the NFL. So next up, we will have the NFC and AFC South. We will talk about them.
Rant.
All right. So let's go ahead, quick pause, and thank our following sponsors.
Razor Cut Information would like to thank you, Ernie Relas, at State Farm, located at 11330 East Central, Wichita, Kansas. Please visit Ernie to talk about your home, auto, life insurance needs. As they say, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Thank you, Ernie.
So a little Stanley Cup Finals here. So we have in the Western Conference, we have the Colorado Avalanche. Yeah, the Colorado Avalanche going against the Edmonton Oilers. And also in the Eastern, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning going
Defending
against
champs.
two-time back-to-back, going against the New York Rangers. The New York Rangers haven't even been to a Stanley Cup final in quite a while.
Since Messier was there.
Yeah, so who are you taking to go to the finals?
Well, right now the Rangers are up 2-0, and the Avalanche are up 2-0. So I think that's what it's going to be. If you can, if the Avalanche continue to shut down Connor McDavid from scoring, I mean, he's one of the most prolific players in the game right now. And so if he doesn't score goals, he's not effective. So I give the Avalanche the edge there. The Avalanche also beat my Blues, so I mean I want them to go. And the Avalanche just play fast. They play very fast. On the other side, the Lightning, they need to wake up if they want to go, because if not, the Rangers are going to make it.
Chuck?
I think it's more so between the Lightning and Rangers, because like if they do pull it off, if the Lightning pull it off, they're going to win the Stanley Cup, because you're going to ride that momentum into there. Like they've got the team to do it, I think, and they're expected to, I think, because of their ranking and stuff. But if the Rangers can just keep this up, I mean, they're scoring a lot of goals too, so I think that's a pretty big factor. If Tampa Bay is not deflated, they could probably still pull it out, but let's see the Rangers go, and I think the Rangers will take it.
I'm going for the Avalanche. That's unique. Watching them, they have not even been relevant
Since Patrick Waugh.
Yeah, see,
Great one.
See, I didn't even know who that was. I didn't even know. Yeah, I'm sorry. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm a Penguins fan.
Okay.
You know, we've made strides. It's just that we fell a little short, but it's all right. I didn't cry. We just lost. It is what it is. But we will look forward into the Stanley Cup Finals there. So let's move on to our segment, Chuck's Dugout. Finally, the man is back in the house. So, Chuck, we're going to talk a little about the National League. So, in the East, we've got the Mets and the Braves. How do you think they're going to do so far in the season?
Well, just like any other team, you know, the season's young and the season's long. So, as far as storylines go, you know, I don't put too much investment into any certain team's win streak or losing streak or, you know, number one, you know, RBI leading batter and stuff like that. Like, it's a long season, so it's really tough to kind of put any sort of stock into any individual storyline. What I will say, though, is that the Braves, I mean, they're fun to watch. I mean, ever since they won it, like, I like that. I love the 90s Braves. I love Chipper Jones. I love those guys. Like, that was just not heartfelt, but it just felt good to watch them play. Like, there was just a really integrity-filled ball club is what it felt like, right?
And every time they would lose in the World Series.
Well, I know, I get it.
A lot of good Cardinals runs in those
very
against those
true.
90s Braves.
Very true. But so I mean, 8.5 games back, you know, it's tough to make up that kind of gap, but just keep on with it and let your young studs, you know, come out to play ball. So
All right, so let's move on to the Central. So we've got the Milwaukee Brewers, and also we have the St. Louis Cardinals.
2 games back.
All right, so what are you seeing there, Chuck?
Well, so there I would give it to the point differential. That's probably not going to go away as far as gap. St. Louis just needs to pull the wins out. Like, you're 2 games back with a double point differential, so that's promising, right? Let's ride that. Let's get on the bats. Let's start swinging for the fences here. And I think St. Louis they're just a storied, successful program for decades. Like, they've just been around. That's just what they do, regardless of who's at the manager position, regardless of the pitching roster, stuff like that. So I think they're going to win it, and I think they'll take the division for sure.
Whoop, whoop. So how do you feel about your Cardinals?
You know, we are the second winningest franchise behind the Yankees. A lot of people don't know that.
I do.
Well, I'm glad you do. I just think as long as it's always the same thing with the Cardinals, we limp into September and October, and for some reason the bats go cold. You know, I think this might be Yachty's last year. So it should be Pujols' last year since he came back. So
Get him one.
Right. Get him another one. Get him another one.
He just got tired of playing in Los Angeles.
Well, you mean he got tired of getting paid in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's why we let him go. We had his 16 best years. He wanted 150 million, and we said no. And he went there, and what did he do there?
Nada.
What do you do, Tristan? Just throwing it out there for all the Angel fans.
Nothing. Okay.
Hey, bro,
Okay.
don't worry about it.
Right. Irrelevant. But, I mean, I think the Cardinals are in a good place. They got a dope third baseman in Arenado. I don't know how to say it. He's awesome. I just think the pitching has to stay good and the bats have to stay hot through the fall.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the West. We have the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Diego Padres. So what we got there, Chuck?
So unfortunately, just like their team across the city, the Lakers, you're going to hear about them for years to come. They're just a really good ball club. They've got so much talent. They put it together. You know, their bullpen is just up. Like, that's just Hall of Fame bullpen stuff right there. So, I mean, obviously when you pay for players, it's what you get, right? Ask the Lakers how that worked out. So probably let's put that in the, crystal ball. You're going to end up with the Lakers season. You may make it to the playoffs, but if you don't, well, that's pretty bad.
Somebody's got to go.
Ability. Yeah, so I don't think they'll win it all, but, keep it, like I said, it's a long season. We're really short into the season right now. So they keep that momentum. I think it's the second highest point differential in the league. So they're up there. They'll always be successful. But like I said, it's a long season. So go Giants.
All right. So let's go ahead. Let's move over to the American side. We have the East. We have the New York Yankees. They're first. And we got the Tampa Bay Rays following second. So what do you see there in that division, Chuck?
Well, probably more so if Boston can get it together. Being that far down in the division right now is not a big deal. That town, that city probably doesn't like it, but they're hard on themselves anyway. Boston's a pretty rough crowd, so I think they'll be a little bit more in the conversation at the end of the year, probably leading up into the All-Star break. But give it to the Yankees. They've got it going on right now. Again, it's just a team you always have to hear about because they got one of the largest fan bases in the game, and they always put together a pretty good ball club. But I don't remember when Joe Girardi was there, but he just got fired from the Phillies. So, maybe that's
this week, right?
Yeah, just like yesterday, I think. But so I think they'll always be up there. They're going to probably, if they take the division, they'll take a wild card for sure. So, just keep it up, Yankee fans.
All right. So on the Central, we have the Minnesota Twins and the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah.
What do we got there, Chuck?
Well, last year, watching the White Sox do what they did, that was pretty fun, man. Like, who doesn't want a team like the White Sox, or even when the Cubs did it? Like, Chicago teams are not historically always great. They just put together, good programs for certain periods of times. The 85 Bears, the 90s Bulls.
Flashes of greatness.
Things like that, right? So, Cubs had their run at it. Chicago had their run, or the White Sox had their run at it last year. It obviously didn't go very far, but it's just fun to watch. And that division itself not being so flashy in any way, shape, or form. Like, maybe the locations, maybe just the teams themselves. So I think it's just fun to watch. I mean, Minnesota, having a lead like that, 4 or 5 games up, like, that's fun to have. Enjoy it while you got it. You just don't stand a chance against the other two divisions in the playoffs. So one of those things.
All right. And your team, the Houston Astros and the Los Angeles Angels. What's going on there?
Well, the Astros are putting a pretty successful season up so far. The only problem is they Dusty Baker's it. Like, I love the guy. Really good. He took a program from basically a PR nightmare to, hey, we're still winning ball games. So that wasn't our World Series run. That wasn't us. We were the solid team you all saw and thought we were before you knew what was going on behind the curtains.
Cheating.
But, well, you know, what? Come on.
Sorry,
now.
Chuck. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
no, I got
my
you.
allergies are kicking in a little bit.
It's a big fact of the game, man, and it's in all sports around. You know, every team of every sport has something going on. You know,
An edge. They're trying to get that edge.
What I'd like to see the Astros do is keep together the roster. They lost Correa, but you keep your roster together and you keep that good name going, and you stay successful when you know you're not cheating. Then guess what? You're not tainted, right? You are proven.
Yeah.
But the Angels are no joke. They have a 9-game skid right now, but it's easily a 9-game win streak next month. So I think that's a solid ball team right there, and they're always pretty successful themselves. So I just don't want to see an LA World Series. I don't want to see that ever. But, you know, fun for the storylines, I'm sure.
Anything can happen. That concludes the Chuck's Dugout segment. Keep tuned in for all the Major League Baseball fans. We'll give you updates on the standings. All right, this is it. This is the segment that everyone's been waiting for. Eddie Money Sports Thoughts, brought to you by She Barber Cuts. Visit Keisha at 2319 Northridge Road. Give her a call at 316-218-3566 to get your hair cut. She offers amazing hairline trim, also tea tree treatments, and the atmosphere is great. And she is trusted by us here at Sportsfellas and also Razor Cut Formation. If you do mention us, you will get a discount with her. So give her a call, book in your appointment. It's summer's here, so you got to get cleaned up.
And she actually cuts my hair, so I'm not just supporting her. I'm actually a client.
No wonder you look better. Man, see, you guys. Chuck, yeah, we need to work on that beard. You know, maybe you need to give her a call to get that trim up.
I just let nature run its course, man.
All right, well, you know where to go.
I do.
I got money.
All right, so, Ed, with the Celtics making the finals appearance since 2010, what will be the strategy in converting to become the 18th time world champion?
I think it just come down, like, you know, for example, football talk, just coming down, in the clutch. Let's, basically from, third and fourth quarter, these next however many games they go, if they're able to close out when it really matters, they can make it happen. And if they don't, just that veteran that the Warriors have in Steph and Clay, especially Draymond. So, it all comes down to, in the clutch, can they close out?
I think for me, the Warriors, it's the Warriors series to lose still. They have, the last 2 years that they didn't make the finals, it was, Clay's not here. We lost Durant, so, we're missing pieces. Clay's hurt. You have no excuse now. You sell the building out. You're at home. You have, game one, pretty much you don't lose at home, and you let these young guys come in and smack you in the mouth. You had the game in hand at the end of the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, you went to sleep. You took a nap. And you let them come out and hit 9 for 3 from 12. Or from 3. Sorry, 9 for 12 from 3. The Celtics have the talent to do it. Was this lightning striking? Or can they consistently do this? I think the Warriors have the ability to consistently do this for 7 games. I'm not sure the Celtics can. Now, they did it against the Heat. They did it against Jimmy Butler and the boys. But Jimmy Butler and the boys are not the six finals in the last 8 years Warriors. So you have experience versus the young, playing 4 quarters versus 3 quarters. And really, at the end of the day, when it comes down to the NBA, how bad do you really want it? Because shooters shoot and winners win.
Nice.
There you go. Well, so 1 game in, you get a good picture, right? You see something happen and you're like, whoa, well, all right, this is going to be a different series than we thought it was going to be, right? Well, I don't necessarily think that's exactly true because they just had 1 bad quarter. Not obviously they didn't win every quarter, but they had one bad quarter that really made a statement for them, right? Put a staple or a bang to the book. So it's 7-game series. So it may be 4 quarters, but it's a 7-game series. And if that game was the 7th game, we know what was going to happen in the 4th quarter. I think everybody knows what would have happened. So if the Celtics can keep the momentum and they could take another one, you win one more, and it's like, well, so you're saying there's a chance. Because that team, and this is a dynasty of this generation.
Absolutely.
Like, there's a lot of people in the sports world that didn't see the Bulls play in the 90s, so they don't understand what that dynasty-esque is. In the 2000s, the Lakers were there, right? We got a glimpse of a dynasty, right? So, but I think I think the Golden State Warriors really tap into what the Bulls did, and it may not be a three-peat, it may not be like that Jordan type player for them, but as a team,
consistent.
There's something else, man. We're watching greatness happen in the history of basketball, and the Celtics get to be a part of that storyline. You can either be solidified in your 18th championship, and then you can take the cake for the all-time record of world champs. But if you don't, well, you're just going to be another notch that not many people remember in the dynasty of the Golden State Warriors.
And Carlos, let me jump in real quick. We've said this multiple times on this podcast today. It starts at the top. Look at what the owners did to keep those players there, to build a new building, to not take loan money from the city. It's all cash with them. Yeah. So it starts at the top to keep your nucleus of stars there, and they're doing it. They paid the luxury tax, twice? I think so far.
Oh, yeah.
So they're doing the right things at the top, unlike the late Bulls did with what was that guy's name?
Krause.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they have it there.
How about you, Ryan?
I think it's just all about them staying locked in. Jason Tatum kind of had an off game 1, and I don't think they can rely on Al Horford and Derek White to hit those shots consistently. I mean, both those players dropped 20. Jason Tatum, I believe, only had 13 or so. And so I think they just need to keep the pressure on Golden State. You can't let up at all, especially with that team. You give Golden State a 5-minute window, they'll blow the door right off. So I think they just need to keep locked in.
Perfect.
Oh, it just got quiet. Got real quiet. Dead space
My
there.
fault. Basketball isn't my forte.
Now
I know
you
nothing
tell me.
about basketball.
This guy. All right, so there it is. That's your sports thoughts there. So remember, you guys, on that we're doing our giveaway. This is it. All you have to do is like, subscribe, tune into our webpage. We will give that out to you. We're giving away a Kansas City Chiefs floor mat. But if that's not good enough, which I don't blame you guys. I mean, it's just it's just a floor mat. That's all it is. But it's a nice one, though. We will give away a gift certificate to either Lids or Superstar Sports. So the giveaway starts officially now. So you guys got to get it in. Help us out. Get in there. Like, subscribe. Tell your name, your team. If you do it on the YouTube, if you go to our webpage, put your name, and you can put your email, phone number, and we'll do the drawing on the next show. So we're going to be giving that away. So on to our favorite segment here. So we have the Mano a Mano episode. I'm so excited. This is brought to you by New Life Painting. Contact Chris Arredondo for your painting needs, commercial, residence. Call him at 316-992-6434. Hope you're doing well, Chris.
You feeling lucky, punk?
All right, so here we go. We have our champion in the house, Eric. So, Eric, we're going to start this off with you. So, Eric, you and Ryan will start off this face-off of mano a mano. Eric, question to you. With Tom Brady coming back for his last year, will the Buccaneers go to the Super Bowl, yes or no?
No, absolutely not. I don't see it. I know they're in a soft division. They lost a lot of players. The coaching, new coach. New coach there. So will Tom Brady gel with him? They had a couple games that they could have lost. I don't see it. The hardest thing to do is to win a Super Bowl in the NFL, in my opinion. And Tom's older. I think he's going to get hit this year. I don't think he's going to be as successful. And you got the Rams. Their team's there. Aaron Donald's still kind of up in the air. I just don't see it happening, man. I think the magic is gone. That's just my opinion.
Right.
I don't think they have any shot now. Whenever Antonio Brown walked out on that game, in my mind, that was pretty much it for that team. With him being one of the leaders of that team, the way he just kind of quit on them, it kind of shows that, they're in a rough patch. And like I said, Tom, given another year of age, we always doubt him. He always proves us wrong, but I think there comes a point where, it kind of gets very unlikely, and especially with Gronk too, I don't see them coming up on top.
I think Father Time is here. I know TB12, he's a healthy guy, but, these hits are different. I know it's a flag every time he gets hit. I just see a lot of teams getting better, and I just don't see them in the playoffs making that run. I just don't see it.
Perfect.
Okay, he got quiet. He don't know. So, all right, we'll get this to you, Eric. Eric got it. Good run, Ryan. All right, second up. So we have Chuck and Eric here. So I'm going to start this off with you. Yeah, Ed, it starts with you. With Aaron Donald still unsigned, will the Rams be in danger of not repeating? If he is unsigned or does move, what team will you think he'll go to?
Yes and no to the first question, just because, they didn't really lose anybody on the offensive side and the defensive side. And if he were to sign elsewhere, he would possibly end up going to... Damn, it's hard to choose. Don't be surprised with if he could end up going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Interesting. Chuck?
So, if Aaron Donald leaves, they do not win again. And that's simply because of what the last game proved to you. Was that defense wins championships. And you have a guy that's been Defensive Player of the Year more than some quarterbacks play in the league. You have a guy that's just an X factor. He's just a huge, huge impact on the field. Now, he had a good roster around him. He had a good offense around him. But what I think the Bengals proved was you can get there with an offense, but you cannot win it without a defense with that offense. Tampa Bay did it the year before. An impeccable offense, but that defense was something else, right? So what I would like to see is, not to say give anything against LA, I just don't like this town in general. Like, they're always in it with sports. We get that because they got big money. They got a huge market. But I like to see the team build it up, and I like to see them win it. I like Golden State. I like things like that. You know what I mean? So what I would like to see is Aaron Donald, if he does leave, I think he should go to the Denver Broncos.
Oh, he wanted Ed. Just go ahead and just sit down, bro. Just sit down.
And that's not to tug at your heartstrings there, Carlos. But just imagine if you can move in a couple players and you can make a team successful with that, kind of like the Rams did. They didn't build that team up over years and years of bringing in franchise players and drafting good ball players. That's not how they did it. It's not how the Buccaneers did it either. So, if anything, the NFL has proven that you can start plugging and playing key players and you can make a big factor. But again, the only factor that matters in the fourth quarter or overtime of the Super Bowl is the defense is going to win the championship. And that Denver Broncos has a good defense. I think if Aaron Donald went there, it goes up 2 to 3 notches instantly. So that's just a good storyline I'd like to see. That's all. And then again, because I don't want the AFC to be a 2-team race. I'm just tired of it. You know what I mean? Like, you hear about Baltimore and you hear about that, but if the Chiefs don't have anybody to put a really big, and let's watch them twice a year, and then let's watch them in the AFC title game. Like, that's what I'd like to see.
You want to rebuttal? Anything to say? Oh, he's quiet. He don't even know. All right, just go ahead and have a seat. Take an L on that one. Take an L on that one.
Got some brownie points with that.
Because first of all, they lost Von Miller. So he's gone. But indeed, in that Super Bowl, we did see you have leadership. Aaron Donald was just hungry. He wanted that ring. And then, of course, when you traded in Goff and you put in Matthew Stafford, you brought in leadership. You brought in someone that's been in the game for a while. And then for OBJ to go out, and then you got Cooper Kupp,
Triple crown.
It's just amazing. That was a good run. But indeed, Chuck, hey, you got him. That was good. All right, next up we have Driston going against Ryan. So I'm going to start this off with you, Driston. Is Lamar Jackson's value can be compared with Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes? If so, why?
I would say, yeah. I mean, he's not on that level. I think right underneath. I mean, I think he's just as good. And the reason is man, he's a monster on that offense. Dual threat. He can throw the deep ball to any receiver. He can, of course, throw that option or short routes, and he can clearly run the ball. Man, no one runs as much as he does, and they struggled when he was injured those couple games. And I think it shows not only the leadership, just how good of a player he is and how big of an impact he makes on that team. So yes, when it pertains to the team, I think he's just as good, but in my opinion, he's not as good as Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes when it comes just in general all quarterbacks.
In terms of a running QB, I think he's the best of the three. Overall, I would have to say he is not up there as the same value. I think Josh and Patrick can throw with the deep ball a lot better, and I feel like they have a clutch gene that Lamar has yet to show.
Yeah, but Lamar Jackson doesn't have the weapons that they do. Like, he doesn't have a Stephon Diggs. He didn't have a Tyreek Hill. I mean, I know he doesn't. He doesn't have those weapons, those superstars. He had Marquise Brown. I mean, I feel like other than Marquise Brown, Rashad Bateman was a rookie. They have the lesser known, which I feel like aren't as big of superstars that could help him out when it comes to that. So he had to do a lot more work.
But when you say help, Lamar Jackson has Mark Andrews.
Mm-hmm.
With Mahomes has Kelsey. Josh Allen has Knox. Am I right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So the help is there. They got help.
One
but
person.
what I want to know is money-wise, do you feel that Lamar Jackson's value can compare to the three? I get a no here. Okay.
I don't think so, too. It's another factor, too. With him being the top running QB, too, I feel like he is probably the most injury-prone of the three quarterbacks. Therefore, it'd be a little bit more risky to pay him the big bucks.
Yeah, but without him, I feel like you don't have a playoff caliber team. You can rely. They have a good defense. They have weapons on offense, but I feel like without Lamar Jackson,
Okay, help him out, you guys. This is kind of it's a close-up here. Call out Lifeline. Go ahead, Chuck.
Well, I mean, to that point, any of the three quarterbacks out, all three of those teams probably lose the division.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, they played in tougher or well-balanced divisions, if you will. The AFC North is probably a tougher division as a whole. So the question is Lamar Jackson value can be compared to Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes? So value, no, because he doesn't win the games and he's not going deep in the AFC run. So value, no, he cannot. He can be compared, but he's not going to win the argument. So that's what I would say to that.
Yeah, that was a good.
So okay, Tristan and Ryan. Here's a question. I'm the owner of the Ravens. You have to tell me why. Yes or no, you're going to pay Lamar Jackson $40 million because that's what he's going to ask for, or not. Or we trade for somebody else. Go.
Okay, I got you. Maybe I was looking at a different perspective. No,
Why?
he's not going to beat a Mahomes or Josh Allen. He's not going to take you past that second round if he has to play those two quarterbacks.
Okay, Ryan?
I feel like, especially of recent years, we're seeing more mobile QBs come into the league. QBs that can scramble, make plays out of nothing. So I feel like as the years go on, Lamar won't be that that rare diamond in the rough kind of player. I feel like there's going to be more Lamar Jacksons in the league. So I feel like why pay him that much when you could wait a couple years and potentially get a better quarterback?
I like
I
that.
think that's a good. Well, let's take a vote. This is tough. Chuck, who are you taking on this one?
With that last one, I'll take Ryan.
Ryan.
Tristan, I'm sorry, man. I got to go with Ryan.
Hey,
You know
man,
that.
I respect it.
Yeah, I'll go with Ryan, man.
I like you, so I'll go with you, Tristan, but I'm gonna go for Ryan. So all right, Ryan's got that one. So not bad. All right, so Ed, LeBron James is now considered to be. Now he is part of the $1 billion club. Should he retire? If so, yes. If no, why?
Who's he going against in this one?
Oh, good. It's going against you.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
And you need to win, by the way, or you're going to be eliminated. So
no,
No
he,
pressure,
he
no
should not, He
pressure.
should not retire. Just, his point average last year. Just his whole game last year in his 20th season, and he's still being recognized as the greatest currently right now. And it just seems like just that Lakers. Just the team they're putting, around him, it just seems like, it's just not going to click. But yeah, he should, keep playing, and I feel like he'll retire once he passes Kareem. So,
All right, he's not going to retire. big picture goals. He wants to play with Bronny. He wants Bronny on his team,
Yeah.
his son, and so he is already pretty much the GM of the Lakers. When he wants a player to go, they go. If he wants a player to come, they get him. So he's not going to retire because he has control. He's still LeBron James. He's still making crazy money. He's in the billionaires club. So, and he's healthy. So why is he going to retire? You know, unfortunately, they didn't make the playoffs this year. But you saw a healthy Anthony Davis. They made a run in the COVID year and won the championship. So I mean, he has no reason to retire because nobody can knock him off from the Lakers as far as an organization is concerned.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, he is the, GM of the team. Like, we all know this, and he's been the GM for, his previous teams, with the Cavs, with the Heat, etc. But, with all these, up-and-coming, young stars, in the league, it just seems, his push for a title, it just seems to get just, slimmer and slimmer. It's just, the competition is out there. It's too much. These, young squads, the Nuggets, what the Warriors are doing, especially, with Jordan Poole. You got the Clippers, you got PG coming back, Kawhi coming back. The Suns, even though they're just a regular season squad, but I mean, still, that's something, they need to fight for. And, there's other several teams, you got the Grizzlies as well. Up and coming as well, so I mean, it'll be tough, but I mean, it makes sense, for him to keep playing.
Right, he's still going to play because he still has pull.
Yeah,
he's got Jay-Z in his back pocket. Jay-Z signs. He has the sports agency to sign players. Don't you want to be on the same agency as LeBron? I can get you paid. I can get you endorsements. LA is still a big market. That's why Anthony Davis went there. Like I said, he's still healthy, and the end game is still to have Bronny on his team. And when Bronny is eligible to be drafted, I bet my bottom dollar the Lakers will find a way, drafted or unsigned, to get him on that team, and they'll play a game together. And then after that, 1 or 2 seasons, then LeBron will step away. But he won't step away from basketball. He'll step into a executive role. So he'll play until he gets offered that by Genie Bus.
Yeah, and then, to piggyback on, on Bronny, he even mentioned, if the Lakers aren't able to get him, he'll make the push to get traded elsewhere to play with the Suns. So, I mean, the end goal is obviously, to play with the Sun. And then, how you mentioned, an extra year or two. But, for a title push, I know the window's closing, but he may have a season at max 2 more to go for a window.
But at the same time, he doesn't necessarily have to push for a title. He just has to be competitive.
Yeah.
And he's always that.
Yeah.
He'll always be that.
Not make the playoffs speak to that much?
Well, I mean, when you trade away everybody, that's what happens.
Or put Russell Westbrook on your squad.
You started point guard.
Terrible idea.
I'm so looking forward to Space Jam 3.
I never saw it too.
With Bronny Jr.
Right. Good points. Good point. But I got to give it to Eric. Eric, he got some good points there. So, Eric, you made it to the playoffs. Congrats, man. Congrats. All right. So, let's go ahead. Let's move on with Chuck. So, Chuck, with Colin Kaepernick working out with the Raiders, should there be a legitimate chance that he will take Derek Carr's starting position? If so, why?
Who's he going up against?
He's going to go against Tristan.
So, as far as backup quarterbacks go, take Colin Kaepernick's name out of it, right? Because that's going to have a big factor in this. His talent's there, obviously. We've seen him play. He hasn't played in a long time, so there's question marks all across the board. But as far as backup quarterbacks go, you really don't stand a chance to win a shot at being QB1 against a solidified QB1. Like Fitzpatrick always contended with QB1 status because he was right there when anybody got hurt and stuff like that. So if you said any quarterback that have a legitimate chance at QB1, I would only put Ryan Fitzpatrick in the conversation.
Journeyman.
So, and just the aspect of new quarterback, hasn't played in years, probably not. Now, situationally, a lot of other teams, definitely not. This team, possibly so. Because if Derek Carr can't get it done, they've got to make a top-level decision to say we're going to keep going or we're going away. Because the only reason that the Raiders made the playoffs last year was because the Chargers handed it to them on a silver timeout platter. So in that regards of the team's roster and the team's where they're going as an organization, I don't think Josh McDaniels would put it past anybody, but I don't think he has a legitimate chance at being a QB1. No.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Colin Kaepernick has a chance in Las Vegas, especially with the new contract he just signed. You know, they want to get their money's worth out of what they're paying Derek Carr now. And I feel like they have high hopes of they're trying to make it as, you know, best as possible with him with picking up Devontae Adams for success. They want him to succeed. And I feel like even if they do pick Colin Kaepernick up, it will be in special packages, Kaepernick's fast. They'll have him run the ball, but I don't see Colin Kaepernick taking over.
Well, to the point of putting him in packages, Josh McDaniels, from his history with the New England Patriots, they don't run packages like college runs packages. They don't have a mobile quarterback and a pocket quarterback. Who are we going to put in? They tried it with Cam Newton, and that did not work out very well at all. So I don't think Josh McDaniels is going to be the type to do that. The NFL is get him in a routine, get him in a rhythm, let the quarterback run the game. And Derek Carr's very good at that. He's proven it. He's still the guy in Las Vegas against a lot of odds. So, I just don't think that organization is going to try to pull anything like that. The only storyline I see coming out of it is, AFC divisional round, Derek Carr takes a concussion hit. Here comes Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick wins the game, takes him to the AFC title game. Mm-hmm. He's done that with San Francisco 3 times. So that's something he's capable of doing, and that would be his route to the role of QB1.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's no debate here, man. Colin Kaepernick isn't taking over because unless Derek Carr gets injured, there's not really any, in my opinion, any possibility he'll take that position.
Thanks for playing, Tristan. Yeah, he just gave it to him. Well,
I mean, when we both come to an agreement, and what do you want me to say, man?
Yeah, that's good. I like that. See, that's what I like about Tristan. That's my friend, by the way. That's my friend. All right, so here we go. So you two are established. So for the playoffs, you got to come through, Ed. You got to come through. It's killing me. All right, so here we go. So Tristan, you will face Eric in the playoffs there. So you guys will go at it again. All right, to face Eric. Here he goes. Who is considered the biggest flop this season? Kyrie Irving, James Harden, or Ben Simmons? And tell me why.
James Harden.
Okay, tell me why.
Basically, just what he did, just with the Nets, it seemed like, everything was clicking, but, Kyrie was, he was in and he was out, in and out. And, the main reason why he left, the Rockets, because, he couldn't win one. So, therefore, he went to the Nets. And he saw that, Kyrie was going to be there full time. KD also went down, I believe, on an injury. So he saw, that, the door was closing there for, a title. And therefore, he was, he went all in, with the Sixers. And the next, come playoff time, we know, James Harden, to not, produce when it really matters in the playoffs. So it just seems, he just been, piggybacking from team to team to team, thinking, with, let's say when, CP was in the Rockets, he said, they were going to make, a run for a title. Along with the Nets, you had KD and you had Kyrie in your room. That couldn't make that happen. And then he said, well, he needed, a player like Joel Embiid, to fight for for an NBA final appearance, and that didn't happen. So,
you're taking James Harden as the biggest flop. All right, Ryan?
I'm going to go with Ben Simmons on this. The reason being is, when was the last time Ben Simmons played a game? It seems like he's always kind of stepping away from the moment. When the trade happened with the 76ers and the Nets, in my mind, I was seen as fresh start for Ben Simmons, get back on the court, help take the Nets far into the playoffs. And, we saw the clips of him at practice, making his comeback and stuff, and never saw any court time. So I'm just wondering, will we ever see Ben Simmons on the court again?
They both got some good points here. Eric, you want to help out a little bit?
No, I mean, I get, his point, with Ben Simmons, but it just seems like putting him midway almost towards the end of the season, and especially, when the chemistry just wasn't there to begin with, especially with Kyrie going on and off, the chemistry just wasn't there, and it just didn't make sense. And then, he had his issues either mentally or physically, but, he just went through some very odd back surgery. Don't know how that happened or, what led to it, but it seems like, from the information I've read, he's in good spirits. Surgery went well. So, I feel like, he'll have more of a culture change with the Nets, more so than, James with the Sixers, just because it seems that, James is just going downhill when it comes to, playoff time. And Joel Embiid, he saw it, with his own eyes. So,
I'm not gonna lie, you kind of changed my mind with that. I think James
He
Harden.
did.
James Harden.
Yeah. There you go, Ed. That's what I'm talking about. All right, Ed. So you get it in. So the winner will face Eric in the championship. So I'm going to start this off with Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I'm going to need your help, Tristan, because I don't know how to say his name here. Should offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs, Coach
Eric Bieniemy.
Thank you, already have a coaching job? If so, why?
Yes, he's a successful offensive coordinator. There's been plenty of coaching changes. There's been plenty of opportunity. I think this year Tampa Bay's head coach proves that because he's successful. He was able to step into the role, and he's going to be successful at doing it, with or without Tom Brady, I think. So Bieniemy should have been 100%, absolutely.
yeah, I mean, I agree. To your point, he should really have a head coaching role. But it just seems, the system that he has, with the Chiefs right now, it seems to work. Andy Reid, is letting him do his thing. So it would make sense financially for, Eric to go elsewhere and be, a head coach. But, if he wants to keep, having, Super Bowl aspirations, I feel like, he should just, remain with the Chiefs.
Oh, so you're talking about as far as career choice.
Right.
Yeah, sure, it'd be smart to. Why not? Stay successful where you're at and do that. What if to that point, if you do, Andy Reid retires in 2 to 3 years, you take over the Chiefs, and that's the perfect dream scenario. But the question was, should he have been offered to be a head coach in the NFL already? And that is yes.
Okay, so let me change the question because both of you answered it very well. Why hasn't he been hired as an NFL coach already? Go ahead, Chuck.
Bluntly,
Yes.
because he's a black coach.
Yeah, that's literally what I was going to say.
That's why. These GMs and these owners and stuff do what they do for decades. Half of them are corrupt. Half of them are POSs. Like, let's just be honest. They're great businessmen, but not many good businessmen are great persons. They're not men of integrity. They're not men for the game. They're men to line their pockets.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, the players have paid a huge sacrifice for that with their health, with their careers, with their families. These guys are on the road this long. Yes, now it's starting to turn around. They're getting big contracts. They're doing all this type of stuff. They're getting CTE help. They're getting medical stuff like that. But you shouldn't have to go through all that to be put in a position you are when you make the owners as much money as you do.
Correct.
I'm not saying the Chiefs organization. Don't quote me on them as being
Tristan's
bad
going to
like
get mad.
that.
Watch out. You gotta watch out for this guy.
Not at all. 100%. I don't think they're by any means compared to some of the worst ones out there. But it's just the odds are stacked against them. With as much as they try to push for the equality and everything like that, Kaepernick just got a chance at playing football again. So what does that really do for you guys when it comes to running in your, like, you guys as in part of the players in the game, coaches in the game, like, you do this and you have such passion. I could not imagine anybody else in the world with more passion for what they do than athletes. There are other career fields, yes, but just break it down. When you've played for your entire life, you've gone on to coaching your entire life, just to stay, you're a better offensive coordinator right now. Do you deserve the shot? Yeah. Are we going to give you an interview? Yeah, because I have to. Is it really a stand a leg a chance? And you're going to find out with all these scandals, and they already have it coming up, that these coaches, the guy from Miami, deserved an opportunity. and he's gonna win his opportunity. And I think yes, that's why, and he absolutely deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, he basically, summed it up, what I was going to say. But, of course, changes happening, with Colin, with Brian Flores, Brian Leftwich with the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
So it just seems, the change is going to happen. And, of course, if we're going, if it really benefits him, then yeah, he should, get a head coaching role again, and then back to the question on why. I mean, it's because, he's black. That's the
right. The NFL had a great opportunity to do what was right, and when John Gruden went out for being a POS, Bieniemy should have been offered the job. They should have went the season with the interim coach, and if he wasn't going to be the guy because he's already in place, give him a fair chance. If he wasn't, same division, give Bieniemy the head coach job. What'd they do?
went elsewhere.
There you go.
All right, Chuck, you got it.
Yeah.
Those are some good facts there.
Yep.
Those are good
good
facts.
stuff.
That was good stuff. I mean, hey, good run. Good run. You made small gains. It's like you've done better than the Cowboy season. You got progression.
Nah, it's just his knowledge it's up there.
But hey, that's good, you guys. All right, so here's the championship. You're gonna go 1-on-1 with the great one here. Ed, I'm gonna start this. Eric, I'm gonna start this off with you for the win. Will Deshaun Watson play this year? If so, why? If not, tell us why.
So Cleveland would not have signed him to that monstrous contract if he was not going to be able to play this year. They literally sold the house, all their picks, Baker Mayfield, my left kidney, everything, so that they could get him because they think he's going to win in that division. So he's going to play this year. Sure, he might sit out 2 or 3 games, but he's the guy there running unopposed. And what was it, 240 something million, fully guaranteed?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You don't give that kind of money unless you know something that he's going to play this year.
So, yes, he will play. And the reason why is because they do know, and that's they don't care.
Wow.
They don't. He made the leap over the biggest hurdle he had to do, and that was of criminal charges.
Yes.
And he was acquitted of criminal charges. For whatever reason, the world may never know. The civil part goes on. For whatever happens, we may never know the true details of everything that ever happened with that situation. But when it comes to him playing football for the Cleveland Browns, he's going to play this year because if he doesn't, he still gets paid.
Yes.
They're not going to invest that kind of money into a guy with that type of background going on right now. If they're not saying, PR, we're good? No? Get in the game.
Yeah,
So-
he's going to play just because the federal suits or whatever they were got dropped.
Mhm.
If those would not have gotten dropped the way that they did, he's not even on the board for any teams. He's worth a 7th round pick from 10 years, But because all those got dropped, he kept his value, and he got paid. I don't believe that he's worth that money. I mean, he was one of the best quarterbacks leading passing yards and touchdown passes the last time he played, but that was on a very bad team.
So I would say to that point, he did what he did, and he made him successful into the playoffs with that team. Is he, in and of himself, as an NFL player, quarterback, worth the money? 100%. Not guaranteed, but he's worth that much money because of what he's done when he's on the field. So keep it in the name of the game. I do think he's worth the money because of what he did with such a bad team.
Yeah,
Imagine if Trevor Lawrence took the Jacksonville Jaguars to the playoffs and won playoff games right now. Would you pay him when it comes contract time?
You would have to, yeah.
So I think to get him, because he wasn't leaving, and he's definitely not like, man, Cleveland looks good this time of year.
Right.
So, they got him with the money, and they sacrificed the house. They absolutely did, Eric. You're right.
So yes, he's gonna play, but all that's fine. Everybody plays. That's a QB1, and he's a QB1.
Mm-hmm.
But can he win in that division? He's only played in domes. You know what I'm saying? Houston has a dome.
And
he's
the
played
South.
in a soft division.
In Jacksonville.
I know they'll beat the
Sunny
Steelers.
State.
Yeah. So he's
Yeah.
got to play outside against Pittsburgh twice a year, Cincinnati twice a year,
That's a
Cleveland
fair
twice. Oh, he already is Cleveland. But
If you play for Cleveland, you have to play against Cleveland too. That's right.
So
Not looking good, Eric. Help me out.
I'm getting there. Let me get to it.
Okay.
He's got to play in a division where he's going to get hit in the mouth. outside. He's got to play in the cold, in the rain, and in the snow. Yes, the money's there, but Cleveland they've had the most starting quarterbacks since like 1997.
Facts.
Is he another one or is he the one? Because they tried it with Baker. He couldn't get it done, and he had a squad.
Where'd you go to college at?
Clemson.
Baker Mayfield?
No.
Oh, no, I thought you were talking about Deshaun.
No.
Hey,
Baker.
Baker went to Oklahoma.
it doesn't matter
Where did he?
Hey, I
Where
just,
did he-
I just
where did he
Texas
start,
Tech?
though? Yeah, where did he
Texas Tech.
start?
He started at Texas
That's
Tech.
the real question.
You know, but like I was saying, you know, can he win there? Because everybody is like, oh, the contract's great. The money only counts if you win, because then it's, are you a bust? Did we pay you this money and you're a bust? He's gonna play.
Yeah.
Me and Chuck have already decided. We know he's gonna play, but can he win? He was winning in Houston, but can he win in the AFC North? Can he be up there with Josh Allen? Can he be up there with what's his name in Cincinnati? It's
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow right now. Can he be up there and take Cleveland to where all those fans in Ohio have wanted them to be since Jim Brown was there?
Yes.
Jimmy B.
Oh, see, they got good points. Okay, you guys got to help out a little bit. Who wants
I mean,
to
he's
throw?
got Amari Cooper now, and he's also got a great O-line still with the same backfield. You know, I feel like they still have a good offense. I think he'll succeed there.
But which Amari Cooper are you gonna get?
Which Amari Cooper you going to get?
That's a good question, too.
That's
Yeah.
my question.
Probably one that wants to solidify his career as a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
Yeah.
How about
He's
you,
good
Ryan?
no matter what. And with Deshaun Watson,
Yeah.
look what that guy did with D-Hop, man. Like, goodness gracious. Like, that's a great matchup that we're going to see, and that's going to be exciting to watch. So,
True.
We need a crack, you guys. We need a crack in the chink in this armor. We need this because they got good points. I mean, help me out. We got to
Yeah, I
twist
mean,
it.
it
so,
just-
let's go with that question Eric proposed. Are they going to win with him? 8-9 with Baker Mayfield in very tough division. It was a 10-7 Bengals team. So, can Deshaun Watson win 2 more games in that division? Yes, he can. Because it doesn't have to be against the division. He just has to win 2 more games and win the division. Because your division record only matters when your tie goes to regular season record.
Yep.
So, yes, Deshaun Watson. Can Deshaun Watson win 2 more games than Baker Mayfield in the NFL?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yes, he
Absolutely.
can win. Because the Cleveland Browns won 8 games
Yep.
in a very tough division.
Yep. And Baker even beat the Steelers, and I know the Steelers aren't where they were when Baker played them. So
That's a good point.
I'll give them that.
Does he
games
stand a
right there.
chance to win a playoff round or a wild card seed? Yes.
Yeah,
Does
I
he
think
stand a
he
chance
win
to
a
win the
wild card.
division? Yes, but
Yep.
not likely because Cincinnati's only going to get better. But he will win football games. He's going to be a factor in that team.
And he'll put people in the seats to try and
Mhm.
recoup some of that money. Can he stay out of trouble as well, though?
Yeah.
No
he's
more
already-
massages. That's in the contract. No more massages.
Do you see? Did y'all see what attorney said, saying like, "Hey man, if it ends with a happy ending, it's not even that's not necessarily a crime." You know, that's what he came out and said.
That was his defense. That was his defense.
That's what his
thing?
attorney
That was the
said.
glove don't fit.
Right.
Oh my goodness, bro.
So I mean, that was a nice statement, but
I'll ask
What
you
a great
question.
lawyer. What a great lawyer.
I'll ask you a question, Chuck.
Yes, sir.
Do you think Deshaun Watson will play up to his $242+ million contract over the 6 years, or is it 4? It's 4. Over 4.
Yes, I do, because they will win the division 1 out of 4 years. And in the NFL, if you make the playoffs, you're worth the money. They're talking about paying Lamar Jackson that kind of money, and he's last in the division. So just win the division 1 time in 4 years. That franchise, whew, savior. Goodness great. They're all about Baker Mayfield. And then let's bring in a guy with actual talent.
Shut it down.
I ain't got nothing, Carl. I
Shut
ain't
it
got
down.
nothing. You got me.
Chuck is back. He's back. H-Town in the house. Oh, hey, any last words, Chuck?
Okay, let me get on a serious note to that point and what we've been talking about with the NFL and this and this stuff and with Deshaun Watson. If you players and coaches can't keep yourself straight, you don't belong in the game. The game is of integrity. The game is of honor. These fans pay a lot of money to watch your franchise. These fans pay a lot of money to be a part of your team and
Hard-working
organization. The players around you that are doing their job, that are about the game, don't mess their years and careers up because you can't do right. Just be a decent person.
You are held to a higher standard.
100%.
Brought to you by Sportsfellas. All right. Hey, that's awesome. All right. Hey, Chuck, welcome back. So he's on the board. So we have Brent on 1, Chuck's 1. Eric, we got to get you back in.
Hey,
recuperate.
That's the
that was a
second
good round.
time me and Chuck have been to the finals, and I barely won it last time, so I knew it was going to be tough. I was excited for it.
That was a good win, you guys. Well, any final shout-outs before we go?
No, yeah, I mean, again, shout out to Carlos for inviting me. And, of course, shout out to
Chuck.
Yeah, my fault, man.
He's just right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, his football, basketball knowledge, along with hockey, baseball. I mean, I'm learning, from him. And then also, another big shout out to, any, F1 fan out there. Big shout out to, Sergio Perez. He won the Monaco Grand
Very
Prix
big win for
this
him.
past week. And so, that was a pretty big win for him and, the country. And I'm also born from Mexico, so.
Okay. Shout out to Red Bull.
Go.
Shout out to my friends, family, and thanks guys for having me.
I want to give a thanks to Carlos for having me on the show for the first time. I loved it. It was a great experience.
Yeah, Carlos, thank you a lot, man. I really appreciate you giving me another visit out here in the house here. So I'd like to thank my wife for putting up with me and, letting me out of the house too. So
Thank you.
Eric, always a pleasure, brother.
Always.
It's always a battle. The guys in the back, thank you all for doing what you do and put this together. Watching sports is fun. This is even better. You know what I mean? What better way to just sit there and talk about the game and have some good banter back and forth. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Shout out to all you guys. This is always fun. Carlos, thanks for giving me another shot in the booth. Chuck, can't say enough. The knowledge is awesome. I love it.
You're up there, man.
Yeah.
They don't call him Chucky for nothing.
Right. I love this. It gives me a chance to talk about sports with like-minded people. Ed, thanks for giving a shout out to F1. I'm a big F1 fan. Lewis Hamilton's my guy.
I just started watching, Drive to Survive. Netflix show.
That got a lot of people
crazy.
into it. But just positivity. There's a lot of negativity out there. Shout out to all my armed forces people out there all over the world fighting the good fight. And shout out to my mom who's getting her PhD this year. So proud of her.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Oh, of course. Thank God every day. Thank you so much. Also, people behind the scenes, thank you so much for doing what you do. And you guys, this was fun. Especially when we talk sports and we get away from what's out there and we just talk about sports. That's just amazing. And indeed, I want to, thank my family, thank friends. Also, thank you, Eric. As always, Chuck. You guys already know how it's going down. Dristan, of course, holding the good fight. Good job. Thank you, Ryan, for coming through. That chair is always going to be open for you if you ever want to come. And Ed, of course, you're getting better and better.
Yeah.
You are, indeed. I wish I could say the same for the Cowboys. But anyway, so just throwing it out there as well, shout out to Loon. Hey, Loon, hope you're doing well, my friend. Of course, the Carbajal family. Miss you guys, love you guys. And also, you guys, hey, like we said before, follow us. Razor Cut Information. We have multiple platforms. If you're into the comic books, you got Wichita Vice. If you want to hear about our movie reviews before you want to go see it, check out Silver Cosmo Movie Reviews. We also just did an episode of The Cutting Crew about traveling. So if you need some pointers or want to hear how, if your next trip is coming up, just tune in to us. Other than that, thank you so much for being here, you guys, and we look forward to the next episode. We're out.